Hello everybody, thanks for sticking around while I empty this box that's filled with philodendrons, and quite a few of them have turned to the dark side. And here you can read what we will be dealing with today. I'll give you a couple of seconds to have a look at the different plants. And talking about the dark side, just look how spooky this is. And after 10 minutes of getting rid of all kinds of paper, this is the first philodendron of the batch. This is the philodendron Mucolis finale. And I must say, this is indeed already quite the finale at the beginning of the video, because just have a look how massive this plant is. Especially considering that I only paid 19 euros for this, and on the website where I bought it, the picture of this plant was way smaller. And although before I was never really tempted by this specific philodendron, now that I see it for real with all these beautiful color variations, I have to admit that I'm very happy that I ordered this plant. Now, the second dark philodendron of this batch is actually a hybrid. This is the philodendron autumn. And normally the young leaves of this plant should normally have a beautiful copper color, and then when they mature they should turn into a deep green. At the moment there is no copper to be spotted, but I do see that there is a new growing point, so we will see whether we get that copper color once this growing point turns into a young leaf. But overall, I'm quite happy with this specimen that they sent me. I count at least 5 or 6, I think, beautiful big leaves, and I see no shipping damage whatsoever. Now, the next plant is quite something else. This is the philodendron Dark Lord, a plant that I wanted to add to my collection since forever, but that I never found at a decent price until now. This plant cost me only 24 euros, and one of the first things that I noticed now is that the pot actually contains 2 plants, which means I only paid 12 euros for each of these 2 plants, which I think is an incredibly good deal. Now it seems that I have 2 options here. One is to separate both plants in different pots, or I can keep them together and simply put a moss ball in between both plants. I'll have to think about that a little bit, we will see. Now the next dark philodendron up for display is once again, I think at least, a cultivar. This is the philodendron Red Sun. Now typical for this plant is that the new leaves come out bright red, then they fade to burgundy, and eventually they turn dark green as they mature. I paid 14 euros for this plant, which I think is once again a good deal, and I'm counting 7 leaves that survived the shipping perfectly, and I gotta say I do love the color scheme on the newest emerging leaf. Now, this plant is supposed to be a climber, but the way that I see it now, to me it looks more like it's a self-heading plant. The future will tell. Now, the next philodendron is exceptionally not a dark one. This is the philodendron Biliati. As you can see, this is a baby plant. I think it's tissue cultured, and for this baby plant I paid 14 euros. It's not the first time that I ordered it. I think I already ordered 2 other ones, and those 2 other ones, by the way, are doing just fine up till now. Now, the leaves on this baby plant are obviously still quite small, but as you might know, philodendrons are great shapeshifters, so as this plant matures, these leaves will become very, very long and way more interesting. Now, the next plant that I want to show you is also a baby philodendron. I think it is also tissue cultured. This is the philodendron Atabap, for which I paid only 11 euros. This is, by the way, a climbing philodendron, and just as I said when I was talking about the philodendron Biliati, This plant will also really change the size of its leaves. Once it matures, the leaves will become very elongated. And of course, another interesting feature of this philodendron is that the back of the leaves have this beautiful brown burgundy color. Now, with the next plant that I want to show you, we are going back to the dark philodendrons. This here is the philodendron Black Cardinal, for which I paid only €9. Now, the leaves of this philodendron turn really dark green as they mature, almost to a dark brown or even a black color, whereas the new leaves come out light brown, which you can see right here when you have a look at the newly emerging leaf. Now, one thing I have to say about these dark philodendrons is that, at least at first sight, they all look quite the same to me. So I gotta make sure that I give them all the correct name tags so I won't get confused about which one is which in the future, especially when I start propagating them. Now, the last plant I want to show you in this video is definitely not a dark philodendron, quite the opposite actually. This is the philodendron White Wizard, and for this wizard I paid €38. And just like all the other philodendrons that I showed you in this video, I have to say that they send me a perfect specimen. I see no shipping damage whatsoever, all the leaves look in great shape. And there's also lots of leaves on this plant, and you can see the beautiful variegation on the leaves. Dark green, light green and white is just a perfect picture in my opinion. Okay, so that's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I hope to see you again really soon on my channel. Have a nice day. Bye bye for now.